My name's Ron Vrooman. I'm with the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. I'm here with Jeff and William. Jeff, would you introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Jeffrey Bowen. I'm on the state of Arizona, and I am representing my YouTube channel, Sedona Creek Talk.
I'm William Appel. I'm here in Portland, Oregon. I'm an Oregonian for over 30 years here. I'm with the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly.
And what we're dealing with is the real constitutional Republican form of government that we are bringing to Oregon and other assemblies are bringing to their states. And our call to action is we need 45 Oregonians that will stand up under their own name and uh, declare and identify themselves as non US citizens, Oregonians, state nationals, and will sit in a grand jury or in a petite jury and listen to the information brought to them if they're in a grand jury to provide a true bill or no bill. If the information coming to the grand jury is bogus, then there's no bill. If it's true, then there's a true bill. And that goes to uh, a trial jury. The trial jury is 12 to 15 people, depending upon how many alternates you have. And those folks are charged with listening to the information and providing a verdict. Now, our court, our civilian court on Oregon, is in common law, which is not the form or law form that they're using currently on Oregon. They're using a form of martial law or admiralty or administrative. So if you guys got something to add to that, we'll finish on.
I do, Ron. I would like to ask you a question, and I think I know somewhat of the answer, but I'd like you to clarify. From my understanding, in a common law situation, there are very few actual rules of law. So, if what I've heard is no harm, no foul, which means yes, maybe you were doing 80 miles an hour and a 30-mile an hour. Yes, maybe you could have hurt somebody, but nobody got hurt, and you were brought before the court and there was nobody hurt anywhere in the situation, albeit it was dangerous. Like today's law, they would give us a huge, major $400 or $500 fine, and there maybe even could be probation and jail time for doing 80 miles an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour zone. But in under common law, long as nothing happened, no harm, no foul, there's no charge. Could you clarify that for me, Ron?
Um, there's three ways that you can get arrested. One is if the cop sees you doing something that he judges to be against the law, and if he's got due cause, he can arrest you. And we'll take your scenario. Somebody's driving down the street 80 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone, and the cop says, "No, you don't get to do that in my town." And he catches the culprit and arrests him. And he brings the charge in court that this guy did this. Now it's into the court, a trial court. That's a court of your peers in common law. Now, those 12 people can do any damn thing they want. Those 12 people can say, "Fred, you screwed the pooch. You were driving 80 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone, and my kid was going to school in that school that you went by. And I think we ought to give you 30 days in the slammer." And if the other 12 or 11 people on the jury said, "Yeah, he really did. He didn't hurt anybody. He didn't damage any property, but he doesn't get to do that in our town. We're not going to put up with that." So that means that those people on that trial jury could actually put Fred in jail for driving 80 in the 35-mile-an-hour zone. And if you read it, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of common law. Now, let's suppose that that jury made a decision that was wrong. I don't know what it was that they could have decided that was wrong, but it was wrong. And everybody on the jury, all 12 of them, didn't like Fred and were just waiting for a chance to nail Fred's ass to the wall. Now, that could happen. People in a small town could be that way. Fred could be a bully, and now's our chance. So it's possible that the jury could do wrong, but that last phrase says, than according to the rules of common law. So, what are the actual rules of common law? Common law started in England, say, 1215 with the Magna Carta. And it came along to the late 1500s when they started immigrating from Europe to the United States. Early 1500s when the Spaniards and the Portuguese started coming over here. And the Brits and the French and the Dutch, they all came a little later in the 1500s, early 1600s. And that's when American common law started. By the time 1776 came, they had 150 years of American common law in the 13 colonies. And they wrote all that stuff down. Those guys were smart people. They could speak French, Greek, Latin, and English. All of the educated guys could do that. Women too. It was all the same. And there was no ignorant people in the class of people that was doing this kind of work. Now, people that lived on the frontier that had no learning, no education at all, of course they didn't have the knowledge of uh, Jefferson and Adams and all of those guys. But those guys were smart. They were really well-educated men. So common law, yeah, common law is all written down. There's books this thick on common law. But it's a tough one. If the jury decides you're not guilty, then you're not guilty. If they decide you're guilty, then you are.
So it may have a lot to do with, believe it or not, karma in some instances, or your standing in the community could be a big part of it. So, if you were doing 80 and a 30 and there was no school and, nobody got hurt and you're a good guy and you haven't upset nobody in the neighborhood, the 12 people may say, you know what? He didn't do anything. Nobody got hurt. Let him off. So it could have worked that way too as well, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Or it could be racial based too, right? That could be horrible.
Well,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's where we've gotten in this country is there's a zillion different scenarios in every aspect of life. And I think we've over legislated and we've tried to make a law for every last little thing. And it's tough. It is a tough one. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the law should be rebooted or deleted every 10 years so that we can start over again, because we just don't know, if you're if you're claiming that you're a United States citizen, these all apply to you. All these regulations and codes all apply to you if you claim that you're the United States citizen. You won't know whether you're breaking the law just by stepping off your porch. You just don't know anymore. You can have grass that's too damn tall in the front yard, right?
Yeah. I think, William, people are pretty good people overall.
Yeah.
I think
Yep.
there's a lot less racism than we think there is. I think that
believe
if
so,
let's
too.
let's say there's an African American man, a black man on Oregon, and he's living out in Biggs Junction, a small community, and he's living out there, and he's just as nice of a man and works hard, and he's just part of the community. I'll bet you most folks out there accept him into the community, and if they were under common law and he got caught speeding and this went to court, there probably wouldn't be an issue. Now, if that was a racist community and an African American man decided, oh, I'm going to come out here by golly and live out here, and they didn't like that, and he bucked up against the system, and yeah, I could see that being a problem. Well, but I think that's
But
rare.
why would you want to even move out there anyway, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yep. And you could argue about that too all day long, whether that's right or wrong or whatever. But I think that this is a fascinating conversation. I think that it was a lot simpler back in the old days, and albeit there are some problems with common law, and there are some issues that we've overcorrected and gotten ourselves into a crazy situation in this modern law. I'm almost for rewinding a little bit on some of this stuff, because most people are good people. Everywhere I travel, I rarely see racism in this country.
Me too.
Yeah.
I've lived all the way back into Virginia in my younger years, and you'd find little pockets of racism, but it was on both sides. But for the most part, we in the early 80s, while Reagan was the president, we, especially I was probably like 12, 13 years old. The kids, at least, we were not racist. We joked around about past racism, and we all got it. We would be groups of black, white, Asian kids, and we would joke around about that stuff, but we never felt that we hated anybody in the group. It was just a comical thing to us at that point. And I thought that all the racism thing was over until the past, 4 or 5 freaking years here. It got crazy again.
Well, it gets crazy because of the media, and it gets crazier because of the media during election years. This COVID situation happened, and I do my channel is called Sedona Creek Talk, and I do a lot of my shows when it's warm in the summer in the creek down here in Oak Creek in Sedona, and people came up out of the Phoenix Valley where it's extremely hot, and to get into a cooler environment and get up at the creek and get at the water. And I had every ethnicity, people from the Ukraine, people of color from the U.S. Virgin Islands, people from the Northeast, all walks of life. And I interviewed these people, and I asked them straight up about racism, and everybody was fine. There wasn't one instance of it. And so I searched and tried to find it, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
I'd
The
like to
West
make a
Coast is
point.
really hard to find that. The East Coast, I think, is actually more racist, if you're going to call it that, than the rest of the nation.
I'd like to make
Virginia
a point
that way.
on that.
Go ahead, Ron.
Right now, back in Georgia or Alabama, black people are getting together and forming black communities and buying land, and only black people get to live there. Now, what kind of shit is that?
Yeah, if white people did that, it would be all over the freaking news for sure.
Right.
And when you look
But,
at
we have these
Congress,
small pockets of those things, and we really do have the right to assemble our groups how we wish to, because this is supposed to be a free country. So
exactly,
the blacks can go do that, and the whites can go do that, and people can have their opinion about it, but they shouldn't be able to do anything about it unless these groups are getting together to cause violence to another person.
exactly.
Yep.
But when you look at Congress, they have the Black Caucus.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a caucus for whites. They don't have a caucus for Latinos. They don't have a caucus for Asians.
Yeah.
So I think the pendulum swings back and forth. And once
Yeah.
it gets to the farthest it can go on its swing, then it's got to go back the other direction.
Yeah.
And that's where I think we are right now today in our quest for a constitutional Republican form of government. I think it has swung so far out of kilter that it has to be fixed. And we're trying to, no, we are doing the fixing.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this civilian court is the key, as far as I can tell.
I agree.
Yeah, if you're going to get people together from their community and from their neighborhoods and so forth, and you have a civilian court of the people by the people, I feel that they'll make the right decision. I really do. I think people can, but when you start throwing judges and lawyers and military law and martial law and all these different entities in there, I hate to say it, but it is not a free situation, and it is not a fair situation. So absolutely, and it's baby steps. You guys are doing great up there. I'm going to have to find something in Arizona, in which I'm learning, and I'm schooling myself on sovereignty and so forth. But I really appreciate what you guys are doing up there, and I think you're on the right track. And you have to start somewhere.
I think this outfit Bundy is a really good way.
People's Rights, peoplesrights.org. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a member.
Yeah, me too. William and I and two other people from the Action Committee of the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly went out to Jefferson and met with the People's Rights group out there. Good people. You brought up something that I'd like to talk a minute about. You said good people. Most people are good people. I'm not sure about that. I think that most people are ignorant and stupid. That's what I think. And then there is a large portion of the people that have decided to be evil, and they are evil, and they do their best to be evil. And I think we see it all over the place, all the time. And there are people in high places, and they're doing everything they can to screw us over and put us into a one world government, new world order, eliminate God. You were talking about it earlier, blank out the sky from heaven. All of those things are happening. And if good people don't do anything, those wicked people, those evil people are going to win. Now, that's not win the whole thing, but they win that encounter. They win that Congress, the whatever number Congress it is that Pelosi's in. That Congress, those people in the House, they have weighted that House down with evil people. They got to get rid of them.
Yeah, it's interesting watching the House open, right? Because they still do the opening prayer, right?
Can't believe they do that. Yeah, that's
kind of odd to
mind-blowing.
me. I was shocked to watch that on CNN that they actually still open it with prayer.
Yeah. A wise man made a quote one time. It says, "The only thing it takes for evil to win is for good men to do nothing."
Yep. We're trying to change that.
Yeah. I think what I meant earlier, Ron, is when you take people, folks, average folks, and you take them out of the city and you take them away from their television and you get them away from their politics and you take them down to the creek or you take them out to the lake or you take them out to the beach, I've found that most folks are pretty good folks. If you strip the evil that influences them away and you get them in a natural environment, I've seen it all summer long during this COVID, but you're right. You're right. There's Luciferian, evil, wicked people running the show at the top, and the media is a huge bad nasty. And you add all that stuff together, and it influences good people into being horrible, into being bad people.
Well, there's definitely a minimal amount of people out there that have the cojones to actually stand up and do what we're asking, is join this 45-person Jural grand jury. We just can't find the people to have the cojones to just stand up and do this.
And I think that in Oregon,
college, something is going on.
On Oregon, I think that Portland's a very liberal place, and I think that it has to be sold and it has to be pitched in the right direction, because one thing that it can't be, William, you don't look like a super hardcore right wing guy. You look like maybe you've got some liberal bones in you.
Yeah, I kind of think libertarian style, where I wish to be free.
Yes, but you believe in marijuana rights and so forth, which is libertarian. But I don't think that one of the things is this cannot be sold as a right-wing whack job situation. This fits everybody. This fits the left-wing ultra liberal, and it fits the right-wing super conservative. This is the original Constitution of the United States that's been taken hostage from us. That's all it is. And most people, if you asked them, you could take an African-American super liberal black person in a neighborhood that's African-American who hates, let's say, Donald Trump, for instance, and you ask them if they believe in the United States Constitution, they'll say yes.
Exactly.
And you go over here out into the Eastern Oregon to the farm and you say, do you believe in the United States Constitution? They'll say yes. So we have something in common. And what you guys are doing with the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly is just basically reenacting the Constitution. Everybody's welcome.
Yep. That's right.
Amen.
All right. Looks like we have 2 more minutes.
2 more minutes.
Yep.
I wish we had Charlie with us because she could give us a good prayer. She does. You've been on our meetings, Jeff. Have you heard Charlie give a prayer?
I don't think I've heard. No, not yet. No.
She gives a really heartfelt prayer. And I don't really know how to do that, but it would be really nice if she was here.
Yeah, we'll have to get her on the show sometime.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate you gentlemen inviting me on. I truly do. It's an honor.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yes. Can we do it again?
Yep, we should do it again next week here.
All right. When are we going to start getting these on the internet and YouTube and Facebook, Bill?
As soon as we get them edited, we'll be up.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yes.
William, for doing that. Yeah.
All right. We'll call it the end now. All right.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Yep. You're welcome.
North Idaho exposed. Have you heard of North?
No, I don't know what that one is.
Oh, you should check into that one. They're not affiliated with Amon Bundy. Well, they might be. I mean, they know him and he knows them, but they're these guys up around Coeur d'Alene and Kootenai County, Idaho, up in the Panhandle. I'm from Spokane, so I was born and raised up in that area. And they're fantastic, man. I mean, they're all about everything we're talking about. But I mean, they go out and they go into the courthouse and raise hell, and they go to the sheriff's office and raise hell, and they demand that their rights are looked at and so forth. But
and I'm glad that people have the cojones to do that. But like we've been talking here, it's a waste of our freaking time.
I mean,
there you go.
Yeah, it seems
that way. But, if we create our own courts per, our constitutions, and we eliminate those people out of our lives, that's what we have to do, because we're not going to get anything there with those people.
No.
They're under, that's a martial law scenario, military courts. We don't belong there. And it's all based on corporations, right? And
Yeah.
I'm not a corporation,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I guess all the corporations can go to that damn thing, but I need to stay the hell out of there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be like McDonald's coming and arresting you, right? Or McDonald's. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And of course, these corporations can't even sign for themselves, right?
Right.
And I'm not, if I harmed anything, it sure in the hell ain't a corporation because it's non-existent, right?
I think another direction too. I mean, you're talking about just nuts and bolts and getting right on down and just checking out of their world and creating your own world or our own world, which is great. You have to do that to show precedence, and you have to do that to show that you're free and everything else. But I think the education process of getting the common man, if it's one guy at a time or one gal at a time, to wake up and go, holy smokes. I mean, I did shit 6 months ago. I didn't know about this stuff. Now I'm quoting things, and that happened in the 1800s, and I'm telling people about it. The more people we get educated, hopefully it snowballs, and I mean, I think that's part of it as well. I think that's a two-part thing. Yes, form your court. Yes, check out of the corporation, but don't just go hide over there. We got to preach the gospel out there.
Yeah. I mean, we can set up all this court, and that's why I keep talking to Ron. It's about, okay, we set up this courting thing, and we take these people to our court. If we can actually get them there, I don't believe they'll ever show up. But we have a grand jury. We try them, and we claim, okay, well, now you have to get out of that office and you owe us a bunch of money or whatever the court says. How do you enforce it? And then you're like, okay, these people are in trouble, but now we need somebody to go do the dirty work, right? Go grab them and take them physically out of the office and put them in jail somewhere or whatever the court claims, and I guess that's where we have to get the sheriff or the National Guard, to go grab these people and take them